Yo, what's poppin'? All my peeps. It is I, your host, the most Renaissance man, who always thinks he can. And your champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back once again in the Yard of Streams for another edition of the Raw Rewind, presented to you by Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. And it's not just me, Patty P, here in the Yard of Streams. I am joined, as always, by the best of the West. You can't forget about Sarah Marshall. Was popping, girl.
Hey, yo.
Hello.
Hey, yo.
Hello.
What's popping? How we doing on this fine ass Tuesday?
Good because I have the rest of the week off, so I am excited.
There you go.
Yes.
You earned that PCO time. You earned it.
Thank you.
How about we take some time off? Like legit, okay? Let's not focus in on work. Maybe you know what you should do for me, por favor. Watch a little bit of the Limitless show because I watched that over the weekend, and Zilla Fatu is going to be an incredible addition to the bloodline in 2028.
2028.
Yeah, he's still in the indie. He's got a maybe. All right, sorry. 2026.
I'm saying like 2025.
No, they're not there yet with him.
It doesn't matter.
No.
Solo was called up before he was ready.
Yeah, but there's so much. There's so much to still go on because you have Zilla, and then there's more that I'm not even gonna try to fake like I know the names of them right now, but I know that they're in the indie scene.
Is Zilla Umaga's son?
Zilla is Umaga's son,
Okay.
correct. He has a tattoo of Umaga on one of his pectorals. I just don't know which one it is. It's a sick design. It's a really cool design. That show was incredible on Saturday because I fell asleep on Saturday watching it, and then into Sunday. I watched that after. And then the main event, he didn't even main event the show. The main event was Dijak versus Alec Price, who, Sarah, I'm saying it now. I know I give BRG that title because that's my dog, which he will be a big star one day, but I'm more than serious when I say this. Alec Price is going to be one of the future stars of the next generation of wrestling. I cannot wait for that to happen because I can say that I saw him when he was in the Indies, and he is going to be top 5 star in the business one day. Oh, I can't wait. So that's why you need to watch at least a little bit of it. Like a couple things.
Okay.
I think you should do that. And then relax the mind somehow. And while we hear from the peeps, give ideas how Sarah can unwind her mind. Let's hope Sarah out here. Jay, what's up? Vinny, yo. David was good. Patty P. We like Patty with D's because Patty with T's is how the women.
A Krabby Patty.
Yeah, that's what I make. That's what I used to do. But Patty with D's is the Irish way of saying it. When are y'all starting? Now, bitch. We're starting right the fuck now. All right. David, celebrate Sarah's birthday. Celebrate your birthday. Take yourself out for a nice dinner.
That's tomorrow. I'll probably just order food.
Yeah, but order from like your favorite place. Like it's your birthday.
I know.
Like, order from your favorite place.
I'll have to decide what that is. So I don't know.
What's up, guys? Final
Yay!
boss.
He's back.
Went back to Dwayne.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. DJ's back on the board. Bernard, hello. What's up? I have another possibility. What may happen at Crown Jewel? Ooh. Now, is this from your brain? Or is this from something that has been foreshadowed to us by WWE?
I don't know if I want to know.
I want to know because I'm nosy. I want to know.
All right. We do our predictions tomorrow. Guys.
We do our predictions tomorrow.
Yes.
It's a special Wednesday. I'm kidding. Also, Sarah, congrats on ending Rogers' playoff hopes. Yeah, Sarah. You
That's
know
right.
how awesome. I was supposed to go to that game.
So
God,
was I know we were supposed to go.
we were supposed to go, and then I get stuck working all weekend so that my manager could go, and I got work all weekend. See, that's my
I
life, Sarah. This is my life here. This is what I'm saying. You would have been
I
stuck in Quincy by
okay,
yourself
well, at
while
least you
I
have that
worked.
instead of not having friends that want to see you, and that's why you couldn't go to the game.
I didn't have any. I saw no friends this weekend. The only friend
I
I saw, the
You
only
didn't
friend I
even
saw,
want me to come.
because of
Stop
the
it.
said reason that I just told you. What? And I worked all weekend, and then when I wasn't working, I was
Well, no,
sleeping.
we talked about this like months ago, so it's not like you would
Exactly.
have predicted this not then.
I predicted. I knew it was gonna happen.
But I could not stop laughing. Honestly,
Either.
just losing. I couldn't stop laughing.
Fucking funny.
Hilarious, because I cannot stand Aaron Rodgers. Have never liked him,
I'll
and
take it. I'll take it one step further, Sarah. I
mm,
never liked the Jets.
well,
The Jets is
yes,
the worst. They're the
yeah,
worst. So to see them fall when they
yeah,
think they are the mightiest
yes,
is even funnier. And the fact that the Patriots did it with Jacoby Brissett
I
and
know.
Gerard Mayo, like this new
And
regime that's
Kayshawn Booty, like,
that way, like
imagine. Come on,
he cooked
no,
Sauce Gardner on
Kayshawn.
that road.
I'm telling
He
you,
cooked him on that route.
I think Keisha. I've said it since he was drafted. I think he is a potential like hidden gem. I really think that he could be like
You did
stellar
say
for the
that.
Patriots if they actually start using him.
You
So
did that. Yes, my brain. I'll tell you guys then tomorrow. Good shit. Good shit.
okay,
Bernard is gonna wait for his crown jewel prediction for tomorrow. Thank God, because we have to dissect what happened on Raw. Because Sarah, even though it's 2 hours now, I will say that there's a lot that happens. They really have jam packed the 2 hours. It's I think because we're hyper aware of it, it feels like it is too jam packed. But when you do take a step back, and I mean, I had to rewatch it this today because I fell asleep during the main event, obviously. But rewatching it, they do a good job in a sense with trying to fit into 2 hours, and you can tell that they do not want to make this the standard for when they move to Netflix. Like they're going to be more than 2 hours.
yeah, I just haven't been that entertained. Like, I'm not saying that the shows are bad, but like, I definitely feel like they are jam packed, but I don't think that it's jam packed with great stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I
Like
think that there's
eyes glued to the television type of shit.
yeah, like
Okay.
there was. I just feel like there's more moments now that they've gone to 2 hours where I'm like, oh, okay, I can walk away, or like, oh, I can go and get something to eat real quick. Like, I don't have to sit there and be like, oh, I have to watch or whatever. Like, I'm not. I don't know. I'm missing the 3 hours and I mean, obviously then there's like some of my favorites aren't on right now. My
See,
favorite
that's my next question.
storyline of the year is over. So there's like,
Yeah.
I
Well,
just kind of feel we're in a lull and I'm just not like super invested in everything right now. So
look what finally fucking came.
I
I finally
know.
got my bracelet.
Thank goodness for
Well, on
you.
September 12th, but beside the point. But you do bring up a good point, and it was gonna be my next question actually to you. Is it more because it is a 2 hour show, or is the reason that you're not as satisfied or not as entertained anymore is because we are in that crown jewel season? And in the grand scheme of things, to the wrestling fan, not the WWE fan, because there is a difference. Because to the wrestling fan, it's not as emotionally invested. So you already can really realize what's happening, so you can walk away. Is that kind of what you're getting at? Like,
Yeah, I kind of think it's like a combination of the two. I think also there's not a super compelling storyline on Raw right now. Like SmackDown has the Bloodline, and the Bloodline hasn't been great
but
until,
it's still compelling.
Roman came back and that brought a spark, and then The Rock showing up at the end of the PLE, that brought a spark. Now we're seeing, the Usos coming back and they're rebuilding this relationship with Roman. So that is bringing another, spark to that storyline. So I think that they don't have an equal match to that on Raw right now. And so that kind of also makes it seem like not as interesting to me, because the Judgment Day with the Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan thing, like they're not really doing a whole lot right now with that. And
Very
that's not,
stale. Very
yeah,
stale.
that's not captivating me. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, which has been my favorite feud this year, there's nothing going on there because they're
Neither
both
of them are even on television.
right. So it's like some of the stuff that I have been the most interested in and had the most fun watching over the past, I don't know, you could even this entire year, like that's not happening right now. And I don't feel like there's really any super captivating storyline. I mean, I'm interested in things, like Seth and Bronson and whatever, but like nothing is super intriguing me that I'm dying to watch Raw every week like I usually am. So that's why I think I'm just a little disappointed. And I just can't wait until they move to Netflix, because I think that's when they're gonna bring the fire and it's gonna pick back up again.
It's a time where the B stories are flirting and auditioning with who can become an A story
See, like
when we move to Netflix. That's
Richard
how I'm envisioning
agrees.
it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like there's too many goods. There's too many B to B plus stories going on that
Mhm.
have that potential to go to that next level and become a focal point of the show. I
Mhm.
mean, you have, Xavier Woods, New Day, that whole tension brewing. You have the Wyatt Six Final Testament and the Miz all in a weird triangle going on storyline.
Yeah.
You have whatever the Judgment Day is doing on both branches, Liv Morgan and Rhea, but then Dom and Damian and Finn, really. But then you have the tag team titles. That there's too much going on for fans to be invested into one thing. It's really an audition of, okay, what's that next story that they're working on to
Yeah.
be the focal point before we get to Netflix? Because it's only 2 hours. It's a crapshoot right now. You're not gonna gain fan. You're waiting for Netflix. It's
Yeah.
everyone
Well,
knows it.
it's kind of like I agree with Richard. I think the Wyatt Six that might
Oh, that
add
exactly.
some intrigue. But
Yes,
it kind of feels similar to, that dead period between Elimination Chamber and Mania, where it's like they can't do too much because it's like,
no,
all right, well, we already have certain matches set for Mania because of who won the Rumble and then whatever the
exactly.
fallout is. You don't want to start a new feud that isn't going to be good enough to be on the Mania card. So a lot of
Exactly.
people are just doing like exhibition matches and like short term feuds just to like fill the gaps. So that's
Yeah.
kind of what it feels like right now. And it's unfortunate because we're going to go through this after Survivor Series because that's another like dead period until the Royal Rumble.
November to February, because
Yeah.
Rumble's in February this year.
So it's like you only can hope that this year will be a little bit different between that time because of the move to Netflix. Like that is going to bring a different
Yeah.
aspect that'll make it a little bit better than sitting there every week counting down the days until the Rumble. So that's when things pick up.
Yep.
Um, yep, 2 months until Netflix, almost to the day. Oh yeah, Saturday Night Main Event. I forgot, but that's not going to be like. I don't think that's going to have like real feuds
It's only
necessarily,
going to
but
have the two, like when I say two, men and women titles. They're going to build whatever those main events are. They're going to build the shit out of it to get you into watching Saturday night's main event. And then
mhm.
everyone else, they're going to try to throw on people that will just make you jump out of your seat
Yeah.
more often than not.
Yeah, like don't be surprised if we see like a triple threat tag match,
Boom.
like
Did you see how
I
many? Did you notice Tessitore? He dropped that stat in last night.
no.
He dropped that it's the 9th triple threat tag match we've seen
Mm.
this year.
Oh wow. Yeah, I'm telling you Vince likes them
Like
or not
I
Vince, Triple
love
H likes them, sorry.
I love that Tessitore is taking his sports world shit and bringing it into the wrestling world. I love that.
Well,
That's
it's also something that I think, I don't know if he knew this, or maybe the stat was written for him, I don't know, but it's also something that people have been talking about online because they're like, oh my god, Triple H loves a triple threat tag match, so this feels like that was to them, because it's been something that people have been talking about online. But I don't know, I was still fine with it. um
that's
Okay, so let's move in to Raw and we can talk about the Usos. Um, Unlike last week, Jay Uso got his fun through the arena, through the crowd entrance. That's why I was telling you. Once I saw that he came out through the entrance ramp, I was like, brother's losing. Brother is losing
see, that's
tonight.
why you're the best of the West. You can't forget about
I know. Don't
details
forget
like
it.
that.
Don't
No,
forget it. So anyway, so we see Jay come out and he's just talking about his recent weeks, which of course was like, hey, I lost the Intercontinental title. I was on SmackDown and was like talking to my brother and seeing what was going on there. And the Bloodline 2.0 want to beat my butt. And that prompts Jimmy to come out. And after being a little bit feisty with him, we basically see the Usos reunite. They finally squash their beef. And Jay agrees to come to SmackDown to help the OTC against the Bloodline 2.0. So we knew this was going to happen. And I don't, I don't think that anybody should really be sitting here and questioning that. I think the main thing I would say is, did this happen too fast? I think that is the main thing, because I get that they're building this for Survivor Series because it seems inevitable that we're going to get, OTC Bloodline versus the Bloodline 2.0. That's going to be the main men's War Games match. So they have to build for that and do it well enough in advance that it makes sense. But do you think that they maybe had Jay like forgive the group too quickly? Like, should they have drawn this out a little bit more, especially because this was the go home show to Crown Jewel? They didn't need to rush it to be done this weekend.
this feels rushed because SmackDown was pre-taped. So it was pre-taped because the real go home show in the last show before Crown Jewel is SmackDown. And to have that pre-taped a week before, where I mean, hand up, I already saw spoilers. I'm not gonna say shit. But
Mhm.
I'll wrap this up in a bow by saying their announcement of the OG Bloodline taking on the
Oh yeah, they did that.
Bloodline
Yeah.
2.0, them announcing that essentially spoiled what the opening or final segment of SmackDown is going to be with the Bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it feels rushed in that sense, and it's an effect of the crown jewel effect, where it's not for you, it's not for us, it's for money. We're just gonna call it, it's for money. So
Mm-hmm.
because of that, the wrestling fans' interest in the long-term storytelling and all that shit that comes with being a wrestling fan is getting put on hold until the next pay-per-view, which I'm pretty sure is Survivor Series.
It is. Yeah.
Which you have, if you want to build up this Bloodline War Games to its max, then yeah, doing this shit right now where they have a little bit of a match already, it may end clean, it may not, but it gets the ball rolling and the juices flowing to get you prepared for that Bloodline War Games match.
Yeah. I just think, I don't know, it's a little early. I think that given how, Jay left SmackDown, like he sought out a trade to go to Raw because he couldn't be around his family. He felt so betrayed. He was so fed up with how he was being treated. He wanted to go on this solo run. And like people were so emotionally invested in the bloodline story, but especially Jay. It feels like we could have seen this drawn out a little bit more, and it sucks that they, like you said, like they spoiled it themselves because they got ahead of themselves by, trying to be like, okay, we need to accommodate for what we filmed on SmackDown already. It's like, well, we should probably figure out what you're going to have on Raw first instead of working backwards. Like I get that they had to do a pre-taping,
That's what happens. It is
but
what it
it's
is.
still, I don't love it. I feel like they definitely could have gone about this a little bit differently.
Okay.
But how do you feel? Because I wanted to talk about this because I totally forgot about this. So we now know that they added another match to Crown Jewel, so now it's going to be 7 matches at Crown Jewel, which I think is significant, but also not because it's Crown Jewel. I think that if any PLE card is going to be long besides WrestleMania, it's going to be Crown Jewel, and it's just because of the money involved. So I'm not surprised that they're doing 7 matches.
Yes.
So I think this is a good precursor, obviously, to what is going to happen at Survivor Series. So this is giving us a taste, and then it also can like introduce us to like, okay, who are the new who else is going to join their teams ahead of Survivor Series. But this has become an argument online. And we can talk about this. We can talk about this tomorrow, but I kind of wanted to ask your opinion
We
today.
can tease it. We can preview. Every
Okay.
movie gets a preview.
So, because this was randomly announced and seemingly had no background to it, because obviously we're not going to see it until SmackDown, people are already debating what the main event is going to be for Crown Jewel.
Oh, I've seen this. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm
gonna let you go first. I'm gonna be a gentleman.
Okay.
Ladies first.
So I'm torn because in my gut, I'm saying this shouldn't be the main event because up until now, everything has been about the champion versus champion matches. So it seemed like, okay, everything they've done, you're building it up for the main event to be Cody Rhodes versus Gunther. Doesn't matter that it's not, a championship match besides the Crown Jewel championship. People are invested in that, and I'm not saying that they're not invested in the bloodline stuff, but I think that it'll be absolutely BS if they make this the main event, which I think they're going to do anyway because it's Roman Reigns, and it's like, well, this is the bloodline storyline, it's the A story, and I get it, but I also think that's wrong because like you're just adding this 5 days before the PLE. Like, how is that fair? I hate that it seems like Roman is becoming that guy. Like, I get that he's one of the faces of the company and blah blah blah, but I hate that it's like, well, if Roman's in it, that means that he's in the main event, and it's like, really though?
So here's my thought process with this. Any other circumstance, Roman Reigns going to be the main event, bloodline, whatever. We already saw the news about Bad Blood and The Rock, which we can push over to the Super Show tomorrow because I want to talk about this. Crown Jewel is essentially Saudi's WrestleMania for them, the yearly event that always comes to them. And it's got so important that they have introduced their own Crown Jewel title. All right. And the way to make that a significant title, even if it isn't to us right now, Sarah, let's imagine that it is a big deal. We want to make this a big deal. Look at the presentation.
That's how they presented
it. To start Raw, you're seeing the carriers of the belts being paraded around like Lord Stanley. It's
well, they
incredible.
took a moment out of the PLE to like introduce it and unveil it.
So the way you make that important is to make it the end of the show, the main event. It doesn't matter about the bloodline. To be honest, the bloodline should open the show. That's how you get people hot and their juice is blood flowing to make Crown Jewel a significant program. If you want to build up this title, honestly, I know it probably isn't going to happen, but it would be a better option than the bloodline main eventing. Liv and Nia. Like, at least it's like, okay, you're building up one of the crown jewel women
Well,
or one of the crown jewel titles to be in importance. I get it. It's probably not gonna happen, but I'm trying to make a point here.
but it could also like give people the feeling that maybe Tiffany cashes in and that's
And
why they're keeping, you know what I
exactly.
mean? Or like,
It's
or if
something.
the men go on last, it's like, oh my God, what if, then they would understand the importance of the championship. But then it would also be like, okay, who's going to win? Because it's like, is Cody going to lose? He hasn't lost since he
Exactly.
won. But what about Gunther? Like, I don't know, the way they've built the PLE, like built it
Yes.
up, doesn't warrant this to be the main event in my
No.
eyes. I
If it
think
does,
we
I
know
will.
they're going to be the main event at Survivor Series. So why do they have to
Yeah.
be the main event to the show before when their match was added 5 days before, 4 days before? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I am all in on the Bloodline main eventing Survivor Series. I am more than all in on that.
Yeah.
But you can wait a show to have that happen. Honestly, having them open the show is best case scenario. Like, yeah, you probably want to do both crown jewel titles, sandwiched in the pieces of bread,
Mhm.
and then the show is the meat. Like, I get it, cool. But the bloodline, because of how it's on the rise, right? It's finally getting hot again. That is how you're going to elicit the start of a show reaction you want the fans to have.
Yeah. I just think it's not at a point where I think people care enough for it to be
No, I
the main
don't
event
care.
right now. It will be by Survivor Series, especially if The Rock shows up, if Cody Rhodes or Sami Zayn are a part of it, so it's like that will
Kevin
attract it and
Owens.
make people excited for it to be the main event, but not right now.
Don't forget my dude Kevin
Yeah,
Owens.
and potentially Kevin Owens. Yeah.
My dog.
Um and also I would say, like, I traditionally am not a huge fan of big matches opening PLEs. Just because your old school brain is like the later in the show you're on, the like more main event you are. But I do think that Triple H is kind of trying to treat the first match almost like a main event.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
it's like the appetizer main event, and then you finally get to the like main event, main event.
Yes, the
But to
buffalo
me,
chicken nachos. Yes.
he's trying to make them feel both matches are just as important as each other, so I
Yeah.
don't think it would be a bad idea. um anyway, okay, moving on to, we finally see the continuation of Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser, and Sheamus beats Ludwig Kaiser. So I wasn't happy about that, because I'm
Clearly.
like, what are we doing with Ludwig Kaiser? Because the thing is they're trying to build him up as much as possible. It's a little bit more difficult now that they have the 2-hour Raw, and they're trying to rotate through who's on every week, because obviously not everybody can be on every single week. Now they have with an extra hour taken away. And the limited time that Kaiser has been on TV over the past month or two has been great because his matches are phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
But he's doing some of his best work on the clips that they post after the show. People keep talking about how great his promos are that he's cutting in a backstage interview for, like, the stuff that they film after Raw goes off the air. And I'm like,
Raw talk.
this is the kind of stuff that I want to see on the program, though. And it's like I'm just confused about them
But
trying to build him up, and then they have Sheamus beat him again.
but
We could still hear you.
damn it. But Sarah, do do you think that because it's 2 hours, he doesn't have time?
I
This is what
know,
I'm
but
saying. Maximize your time.
no, and
That's a
I get
classic
it.
Dusty Rhodes comment.
I get why they're having him do it. I just
Yeah.
mean, like, it would be nice if we could still see him talk like that sometimes on the
Mm-hmm.
actual TV program, because a lot of the time people are talking about, oh my God, he cut such a great promo, and it's a YouTube clip. And it's like, okay, but the majority of the audience is not seeing that because not everybody turns to YouTube, to like watch follow up stuff. I think I don't know. I'm just confused about what they're trying to do. Because he looked like they put a rocket on him and they were gonna just like take off, and
They got hurt.
yeah, it's
Uh-huh.
just gotten downhill. But I don't know how much they're accomplishing by him continuously losing. That's what I'm confused about. But I guess I can't complain too much because at least he's on TV and Vinci's not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Vinci's not, and
my
he's on
baby.
SmackDown, unfortunately. This is
Mm.
Raw talk. And why we're on the topic of Raw, Sheamus is beating Kaiser because Braun needs another opponent. He needs that next feud. And
Yeah,
how
they can't.
hard
They can't
would
do it
that
yet.
slap?
No, they can't do it with Sheamus yet. You know
Okay, but he
why?
still needs a win over Ludwig. If next week he
Yes,
fights this guy and gets a win, it's like, okay, now it's making sense. Like, you can't have Sheamus lose to Kaiser right
I
now, and
yeah.
then, you know what I
I
mean?
just don't want
So,
him to go against Braun Breaker until he wins the Intercontinental title, and it's too soon for Braun to lose it again. That's all I mean. Like
what if
Shame,
Braun just beats him? Like, what if Braun just
sure,
beats,
and then they get a rematch at some point. Like I said, I wouldn't be
or he
mad if
just beats him
Sheamus wins
clean?
the Intercontinental title at Mania or something, because that would be his first time winning the title, and then he
I
becomes a Grand
would.
Slam champion. You know,
Hmm.
so
Okay.
I don't know. We'll see. Richard agrees. I saw that Kaiser getting hurt was it was such terrible timing. The same thing happened to Pretty Deadly. When Ridge Holland injured my boy Elton, it stopped their push.
Ridge Holland
Fuck that
got
guy.
into some beef with Bully Ray over the
Yeah,
weekend.
it's annoying.
Apparently, Bully Ray is at NXT tonight.
Interesting. Um, so we saw this as well. Sami
This
Zayn
hurt.
saw the moment between the Usos in the ring to kick off Raw, and he approached them backstage. He was not thrilled to see Jimmy, but
No.
he wanted to talk to Jay and question him about, forgiving his brother and Roman so quickly. And Jay hit him with the hard punch by being like, well, you wouldn't understand because you're not family. And then later we see the Usos talking because Jimmy wanted to go and talk to Sammy to kind of like square things away and whatever. And in the background, you see Sammy speaking with Solo. So I guess let's dive into this in two different ways because I think there's two different conversations you can have from this. So what do you think about this interaction with Jay? Because we have talked about, oh, maybe Sammy will join Team Bloodline for Survivor Series. This seemed like a teaser to that, or at least kind of addressing it immediately, now that we see that the
Mm-hmm.
Usos are cool with Roman. Do you think this is like a hint at that? Do you think that he will be? Like, are things going to be okay? Like, what do you think?
It's definitely a hint that Sammy could be more aligned with Bloodline 2.0 rather than the OG, because he mentioned verbatim that Roman was the manipulator, and how Roman and Jay had this beef for so long, and now they want to rejoin. He already came back. He came to Raw. I mean, he left his family and made a name for himself on his own. And I could see Sammy aligning with Solo because Sammy dealt with Roman like very much so, and the hard and the brutal manipulation he was putting him through when they were in the bloodline together, and Sammy could just be joining Solo to prove a point. I don't really, but it's something to watch for right now. It would be very hard for me to think that Sammy would be on Team Solo
Yeah.
come Survivor Series. So this throws an interesting wrench into this. I to use a literary term, a red herring. This
Mhm.
this might be a little red herring in the bloodline story, so we'll have to see.
What I think is interesting too is when Sammy was talking to Jay about,
Mhm.
helping Roman and whatever, and he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, what? Are you going to ask for a trade back to SmackDown?" And that was something that we've been talking about. It's like, okay, well, he's on Raw, so if he's going to start helping the Bloodline and be on their team for Survivor Series, does that mean he needs to be traded back to SmackDown, or is he going to be able to do it as a member of the Raw roster, kind of like in a loaning
Mhm.
situation? Because then that also would determine whether or not Sammy would be on either team. Because if that is
Yeah.
something that they're saying has to happen for Jay to do anything with the bloodline, that means Sammy would also have to be traded to SmackDown. So I feel like
Exactly.
that's something that
So,
we'll have to see what happens. I do think it's very interesting to see him talking to Solo, especially since we were talking about how cool it would be if Kevin Owens joined the Bloodline 2.0. Because Sammy and Kevin were cool once Kevin was moved to SmackDown,
yeah,
but Kevin's a heel, Sammy is not. But
very much a heel, Kevin Owens.
look at him talking to the bad guy. So it's like, what does that mean for Sammy? I don't know, but I'm intrigued. I'm a lot more intrigued than before. Um, you know,
I'm very
um,
intrigued by all of this. I really am. Nope.
let's
Okay.
see. I'm not saying that he is okay. I think it was because Richard didn't watch our stream when we talked about this. He wasn't here, but I really think that it would be like the sickest thing for him to do, because it would be going against Roman, it would be going against Jay, it'd be going against Jimmy, and if Sammy or Cody join the original Bloodline team, this is a big fu to them too. If Kevin then joins the um
I just
Bloodline
don't see
2.0.
K. I see K. I don't know.
I
He
would
would
love it.
be a hypocrite. He would be a
That's what
hypocrite to
he's saying,
join.
but I still think like if you can't beat him, then
I
join him.
I don't with this whole mentality he's on
It
right now. I
it
don't
wouldn't be
think
stupid.
he.
I think it's a great twist.
I I don't know where he could go. I'm not gonna.
It doesn't. I think it could be like I'm not saying he would join
It
the Bloodline.
doesn't matter.
This is what I'm thinking. You remember the situation of Drew McIntyre joining like Team Judgment Day, even though he despised them, but he just used them to be able to do what he wanted? That's what I'm saying is why Kevin would do it. It wouldn't be that
Okay.
he's like cool with the Bloodline 2.0 and now he's a
Oh no,
member.
God no.
It'd
Yeah, I
be
don't
like,
believe that.
I'll be cool with them temporarily because I want to get at Roman, because I want to get at Jimmy, because I want to get at Jay, because I want to get at Cody. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying that he would be like cool with them or whatever. Um, but I think it would be funny. It also could set them up for, if it's going to be him versus Kevin, maybe at Saturday Night Main Event or whatever it's going to be. That would set
Yeah.
that up. But that's just my opinion. You guys don't have to. I'm just throwing that out there as a random thing. Um, but yeah, clearly it's not a good take to some people because I'm getting roasted in the comments. So that's okay. If I'm proven right, then you guys will just have to say you're sorry. Anyway, moving on to Seth Rollins. And he is still going after Bronson Reed. Obviously, they're having
Medical
their
facility, Sarah. He
yeah,
was in a
whatever.
medical
Whatever.
facility.
So he goes out to the ring and calls out Bronson Reed, but they end up getting into a brawl and it goes all the way into the parking lot. And Bronson Reed does not care about what he does to another human being. If he sees an opportunity to throw you through a car, through a table, through whatever, he's gonna do it. And that is exactly what he did with Seth Rollins. We later find out that Seth Rollins was being treated at a local medical facility or hospital. They're saying hospital now too.
He said
Medical
emergency room. I was like,
whatever.
what?
A medical
Just
facility.
drop an emergency room?
Well, that's what Vince used to make them say, is like a local
Medical
medical.
facility.
Yeah, that's what they
Yeah.
said. So I'm like, when they don't say that, I'm like, okay, Vince is out,
You can tell.
Um, So this was the go home show for Crown Jewel. So clearly they're trying to be like, okay, Bronson's gonna dominate, blah blah blah. I still think Bronson needs to win.
He needs to
He
win.
can't lose the first
He
matchup.
needs to win.
But they could go with that too and have Seth be like, oh, he's all beat up, blah blah blah. Like, is he ready to go?
Yeah, and then
But
Bronson beats him.
yeah,
Yes.
he has to beat him. But
Can we talk about for a second, Sarah, the nonsense that occurred when Bronson calls Seth out to the parking lot.
mhm.
Seth gets out of the ring, takes his blue jacket off, and underneath the blue jacket was another blue jacket. Like what? Like I'm getting so my mind's getting put into a pretzel with these Seth Rollins fashion choices. This man just continues to blow my mind and make me laugh with all of his costumes.
I think it's the funniest part about it is that a lot of his outfits are not cheap. So I
Oh
really hope
shit,
that
they're
he's
not.
just renting them because I'm like, bro, you don't wear that in your
Did you
normal
see those?
day-to-day
Did you see
life.
those boots? He had the red ones.
I know those are like
Those
thousands.
I hair
Yeah, but they're like
so bad.
so
But yeah,
expensive.
it's like $1,000 a shoe.
Um Oh, Jay, why do you hate me so much? This is a thing that I don't understand.
I think Jay just
He hates me.
I don't think he hates you. I think he loves to hate you. It's like
Exactly. So he hates me is what you
no, but
just
it's called an interest. You got
Okay,
an interest.
whatever. Um all right. Anyway, what did Richard say? Seth will win the Bronson feud, but Bronson should win the first match. Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah, I
Seth will
don't
win, but
care
I
that he
think
wins
he
the
needs
first.
to not win the first one because that hurts Bronson.
I want to
Um,
see 10 tsunamis
I
on Seth.
know. I want to see it
We
too.
need
I
it.
think we need to, especially with Crown Jewel. Come on.
Tsunami! Love it.
Then we see the continuation of the Miz being the next target on the
Poor
Wyatt Six
guy.
hit list.
Poor
And
guy.
according to Scarlett and Karrion Kross, the
Oh
Miz
my
was
god.
kidnapped
Oh my god, this was so funny.
by the Wyatt Six after Raw went off the air. Also, according to Karrion, he dead. He real dead.
That was without a doubt another reason why Karrion Kross should be
A goat.
in the championship picture.
Yeah,
It's just that little social media clip, and this is what I'm talking about with maximizing your screen time.
Oh, he
That
got
little clip.
kidnapped by Loomis. Okay, I didn't see it.
Yeah, it got when Miz was going to. So it happened when Miz was on assignment by Karrion Kross to go look for Bo Dallas and
Mm.
ask why he keeps getting into his business. So he goes up to the New Day, who are bickering after they lost, which we'll get into. They're bickering about their loss, and he's like, "Hey guys, have you seen Bo Dallas?" And Kobe's like, "No, I haven't seen him in like 2 years, dude." Which hilarious comment. And then he goes around, he's like all frustrated, and then as the segment of Raw Talk is focusing in on the New Day and that storyline, which obviously we're going to talk about. In the back of the corner is Miz getting abducted by Loomis, the Bird, and onto a tour bus. So that
Mm.
was where the moment happened. And so back to Karrion Kross reacting to it. The man was so incredible in his delivery with Scarlett telling him that the Miz has been kidnapped. He's like, we have to go look for him. And he's like, well, how long has it been? Oh, 20 minutes. Oh, he's dead. He's dead.
Yeah.
And just to deliver that popped Scarlett, like Scarlett, as she was like, no, we have to go look for. She's like, babe, we have to go look. Like she couldn't hold it in,
Mhm.
and that it's just little things like that where you really need to appreciate the role that Karrion Kross is playing, and that this can actually be a feud that we potentially talk about for a long time.
Well, that's why we said that we think that this is like the best character for Carrion because he just does it so well.
Oh, so well. And he even went more in depth with it on the interview we had with CVV. Oh
Yeah.
my god, like go watch that interview. It was incredible.
So, what do you think about the Miz being kidnapped? I think it's
Mm.
interesting, and I think it's a good way to continue what they're doing with the Wyatt Six, because I think if they just went about it in the same way that they did with Gable, it would be kind of boring or fall a little bit flat, because it's like, all right, we've already seen this. Like, they would need to do something different for their next target. So the fact that they're kind of jumping straight to the punishment by kidnapping him, because I would say that's pretty scary, if you're the
Oh, it's
Miz.
terrifying. Getting
So,
kidnapped by the Wyatt Six?
yeah. So
Jesus.
I'm really interested, because I think that the Miz being involved in this, we know how good Miz can be and like how funny and entertaining he can be. And so I think that he is going to be a great person for them to be going after next, because he could make it like funny, but also easy to hate him and easy to root for the Wyatt Six even more. Like, I think
I
that they could make
see.
this super interesting.
I could see them going really deep with this,
Mm-hmm.
and Miz doing very similar type interviews and or self-reflection
Mm-hmm.
segments is a better word for them, like we saw when the Wyatt Six was introduced, because that's what the Wyatt Six is. If you have caught on with the theme of who they attack and what they do and all that, they're family, and
Mm-hmm.
it's going after people that have turned against their family
And the Miz has done it multiple times.
multiple times and multiple people, and especially R-Truth, where he's the most innocent. He's the one that's he, if you want to go really long term, from when they were the Awesome Truth and ruining pay-per-view endings, getting arrested by Triple H's PD,
Mm-hmm.
that, like, that's the type of shit that they're gonna go in depth with. I want to see that from the Miz. The Miz has become so stale, and he's just been floating and just being the Miz. All right, let's see another layer added to Miz and see how deep we can go to see a whole other version of the Miz that we potentially haven't seen before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that is going to make it that much better. Like, people really enjoyed what they did with Gable. And so I think what they could do with Miz could be even better than what we
Hmm.
saw. And maybe have a little bit more long-term payoff. Because they haven't really done a whole lot with Gable since. Um,
They started something.
yeah, Merca, but oh my god,
Here we go.
Brutus in his laugh, he was forcing it so hard last night. I was like, please stop. Please just
Really
stop.
freaks you out.
I hate it. It's so annoying and gross. Ew. Anyway, so we see another triple threat tag match to become the number one contenders to face the Judgment Day for the tag team championships. And it was between the LWO, the New Day, and the War Raiders. Oh my God, I'm obsessed with the War Raiders. I'm
The
sorry.
War Raiders are fucking awesome.
I am
Awesome.
so happy that they were able to come back and not be Vikings, because it's very well documented how much I hated the Viking shit.
What?
Um,
Sarah, you can't, or could you go into our library and check out how vehemently against the Viking gimmick you were? And then
I
while
know.
you're there, hit subscribe. Just go do that after we talk this. Put that on your
So
radar.
I'm just glad that
Yes.
they were able to come back in the way that they wanted to, because they didn't want to ever be the Vikings. They just did it because it was like, all right, like, this is what they want us to do,
It's
so we'll do it.
airtime.
Yeah, so I was really happy to see them with their new music and their new look and everything. You could just see that they were like more interested, like they
Oh, there's a
seemed to.
different vibe.
Yeah, there
There's
was a
such a
totally different
different
vibe.
vibe.
More them, I think. So this was a good match, just like almost every other triple threat tag match is.
Ninth one.
And yes, but what I think was the most shocking about this is that the War Raiders won. I was not expecting that whatsoever, because they would be going against Judgment Day. So I was like, all right, it's going to be LWO or the New Day. Like, they're going to want the babyface teams.
I thought
Because,
New Day was gonna win. I thought New
yeah,
Day was gonna win to further along them not, but I like the
Yeah,
other avenue they're
and
going down. So
the War Raiders aren't necessarily heels. They don't really have a character one way or the other, but I was
no, they're
thinking
just
like
War Raiders.
yeah, I was just thinking that they were gonna wanna go with, like, the over the top baby faces to win. So,
Not in this era.
I was happy though because I'm like, yes, they have, done more than enough to deserve this recognition. So I was really happy to see that they were able to become the number one contender so quickly upon their return.
I agree. No, I really haven't. I yield to redundancy with what
Okay.
you said about the War Raiders because I love them just just as much as you do. I do want to add though that I love this finish to the match. We saw the potential start of a feud with Gable and Rey Mysterio. I'm
Mhm.
all in on that. And then
Mhm.
the ending to the New Day potentially winning and Xavier Woods being the QB. And as they're going up for their signature move, he goes after Ray on the apron. He should have just stuck to the move. But hyper awareness, he wants to hit him off, and that eventually cost him the match. And that's what Kofi and him ended up arguing about when obviously the Miz got kidnapped
Mhm.
and it led to Kofi saying, "You know what? I'm gonna find my own way home," and that tension building. So you're seeing that you're just seeing it boil, and we're seeing it boil to the point where it's inevitable. It's not an if, it's a when. And I'm praying to God above in the tribunal with him that it happens on the 10-year anniversary of New Day
Mhm.
because that would be just not only for me, like, yeah, what I call is awesome and props to me, but in the grand scheme of the story, on the 10-year anniversary, Woods has had enough. It's a little details like that that add, more pizzazz and more fuel to the fire with this.
Well, and I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Big E does eventually get involved.
Like, what if he
Um,
hits Biggie? Like, Biggie may not be able to return to ring competition, but he could probably take a bump or like a simple one,
or
if
like
you
a
really
slap
want to.
or a
Like a
slap.
slap, yeah,
Yeah, or
like, I'm not
something.
saying like a suplex or something, but like some sort of physical contact
Mhm.
where it really blurs the line and in that regard, but solidifies that Woods is on his own.
Yeah, well, and then I think that that's possible too because uh when I mean I know that it's not necessarily completely relevant. However, the New Day are in a commercial for Old Spice and Big E is in it. So I'm like, okay, well, clearly they're still trying to show the New Day all together, the three of them. So,
Mhm,
because they very easily could have done, there's other commercials that they've done where it's just Kofi and Xavier, but this one, Big E was in it. So
mhm.
I don't know. That could be telling. We'll see.
We
Um,
shall see.
Then we move on to the last bit of Raw before we get into two topics that are just relevant because of it happening this week, which was the main event of Daddy Dom, and he found out the former world heavyweight champion that he was going to face,
Yeah,
which
man.
was Damian Priest. And shockingly, with the help of his friends,
His compadres.
Daddy Dom
Got the
wins
win.
the match.
Got the win.
And the whole point of having the match with the former world heavyweight champion was to win the match so that he could face Gunther for the world heavyweight title. Now, he won, which means
Yeah,
after Crown Jewel, he's the number
crazy.
one contender. I'm interested to see if they actually let it happen because I can see Adam Pearce being like, no, 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 no. You got help. You didn't beat him on your own. But I really hope he doesn't do that. I mean, Daddy Dom versus Gunther is not going to be a great match. I'm not sitting here trying to
No,
say it's
what did
like
I
going
say
to be a
last
five
week?
star,
Gunther's
but
gonna slap the shit out of him till his chest is beat red, and
yeah.
then he's gonna hit him with the final symphony, I think it is, or last symphony, and
Hmm.
then choke him out. Like that's what we want. but I
I
don't care. Do it on
I
Raw.
I
Like
am
I'm.
interested in seeing this happen though.
What is he doing?
Because Dom was already showing a little bit of hesitancy about fighting Damien when he was told at the top of the show. Now that he knows, or whenever he finally remembers that this means that he gets to face Gunther, that's going to be hilarious because he's going to be like, oh shit. Like, what have I gotten myself
Oh my
into?
god, I can't wait. I
But
fucking
yeah, I'm wondering how quickly they're going to go into it because, Raw was double taped, correct? So I would
no.
it wasn't? Are they going to be there for Raw?
I'm 90% sure that
I was
like
just
95% sure the Raw was not double taped.
Oh, I thought it might be because of them being in Saudi on Saturday, but maybe I'm wrong. Um, but anyway, I think that this is going to be interesting because they can go a lot of ways with this, and also Gunther versus Dom is going to be really fascinating to see like if they actually go about it more than just having it be a match like right away. I want to see how the
Mhm.
crowd reacts. That's what I'm really looking forward to because how do
Oh,
you
they're gonna
choose?
boo the fucking I wait for they're gonna boo the shit out of him.
No, I'm saying how do you choose between Dom and Gunther is what I'm saying. Like people are going to have to choose Gunther because they hate Dom more. So it's going to be interesting to hear how the crowd responds because it's like I don't know what to do. Like who do I cheer for? Like
Imagine
cuz
cheering for good. Like people are gonna be
I don't have
not
to
what.
imagine.
No, I don't know. Not you, the peeps
Yeah.
who are ignorant and do not understand Gunther. They don't
Mhm.
understand it yet, which is
Yeah.
on them. That's we can't help you. We can only lead the horse to the water. Can't make you drink it. All right. And so for us to cheer for Gunther that's just natural. But for you to have to choose between Dom and Gunther, that's tough. I'm sorry.
I know. I'm
I
excited
hate
though
that that's
because
tough. I'm gonna
this is
boo
the kind of stuff that Vince never did
never did.
really at all. So I like that Triple H is kind of doing that a little bit more, having good guys versus good guys, bad guys versus bad guys. Like I like that he's doing that because it's not so easy to figure out who you want to cheer for, or it kind of brings out like new fans for people on one way or the
Mhm.
other. So I don't know, I'm interested and I think it could be hilarious, like the storylines and the interactions between the two of them could be so fun. I can't wait to
Oh
see
my
it.
god.
Um
I can't wait. It's so funny. I'm just picturing it now. Oh, it's funny.
anyway, okay. So that was Raw, but we're going to talk about a couple other things because Raw is only 2 hours, so we want to make sure that we can get as much content in as possible. And one of the big topics today was a misleading story about AJ Styles. There was a story going around claiming that WWE are the ones who nixed the idea when TNA called and was like, "Hey, we want to induct AJ Styles into the Hall of Fame." The story going around was claiming WWE said no, but that is not true. AJ came out and said no, it was actually me, and it wasn't me saying no, never. Like I don't ever want to. It's just the timing is not right now. So that brought up a lot of conversation, of course, because when
It
the
happens.
news first broke, people were freaking out about like why would WWE do this? Like they have this partnership with TNA, like why would they do that? Yeah.
Like
And so
literally this.
it's funny how much they had to eat their words once it was clarified by AJ
Yeah.
himself. Um
Like
and of
come on.
course, WWE would never say, especially because they have this relationship with TNA, they would
Yeah,
never say,
guys.
AJ, you can't go
Are
get
you
inducted into the Hall of Fame where you made yourself a big name. You know what I mean? Like, they would never do that.
guys? This is why you need to be sponges of knowledge and learn as much as you can and remember it. You can learn it, but retaining is tough. You have to remember that Rey Mysterio is a unicorn when it comes to Hall of Famers
Mm-hmm.
because the Hall of Fame is meant post career. It's supposed to be meant to enshrine your legacy as in, and live in immortality when it comes to the company. Okay. It's not meant for active superstars. a lot of the time that gets misconstrued because wrestling is relatively its own world. We know this. And we saw TNA, their first inductee into their Hall of Fame ever. I don't know if you knew this, Sarah, but now you know. It's Sting. It
Mhm.
was Sting. Sting obviously was active at that time and went on to be more active in years later.
Mhm.
That's I say unicorn, but token, you can use other words to describe it. The point is that it doesn't happen often. It's a once in a blue moon. They for AJ to say no, yeah, it's probably because of the active thing, but also he's injured. Okay.
Yeah.
AJ Styles is legitimately injured. It was supposed to be coming back for a storyline where he faked an injury, but the devil works in mysterious ways and actually made him injured. So because that, yeah, he's not going to appear on screen for something where I already said the first reason why. So then we're going to double down on the second reason. Just stay home,
I have a
rest up
third.
so that he can come back and not be in the Hall of Fame in TNA, but actually compete in TNA as a WWE superstar, which is what everyone has been clamming for since the partnership was even announced.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. I feel like, there are people, because I can't remember who was saying it in an interview about being in the Hall of Fame, and they feel like when you get put in the Hall of Fame that means like your career is done. Like you go
Can't
into the
go
Hall of Fame
higher.
at the end.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can't
I
get
can't.
higher than the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, somebody recently said that and I can't remember who it was, but I'm sure that a lot of them feel that way because traditionally that is how it goes. I mean, like if you look at professional sports, if you look at the NFL, you have to be retired for 5 years before you're eligible to go into the Hall of Fame, and WWE doesn't follow that. However, they historically have waited until you were done to put you in the Hall of Fame. So it would make sense if AJ is like, no, I don't want to do this yet.
Yeah,
And because, like you said, he probably wants to be able to do that crossover at some point. And it feels like maybe if you go into the Hall of Fame, that kind of is closing the door on that happening. Or like, what if he accomplishes a ton of stuff over the next like 3 years? And then it's like that wasn't acknowledged when he went into the Hall of Fame, So it
yeah.
kind of feels like
Like, what if he
it's
became X
premature.
Division champion again? Like,
Yeah.
there is a possibility. I'm not saying it's a likely one, but there is a
Yeah.
possibility that AJ Styles could have one final X Division title run.
Mhm.
Why
Or
not?
even
Like,
or even WWE title.
or another WWE title run, or TNA. Like, you never know because his career's not done. It's just put on pause because of
Yeah.
an injury.
Mhm. Agreed. And then I wanted to quickly talk about this because
You go on. I will just respond.
so Bobby Lashley, I'm not gonna explain as many details, and I'm going to censor myself because I don't want to get. I don't know how many things you can say on
We
YouTube.
like being on YouTube. Thank
Yeah.
you, YouTube, for
Um.
having us in your platform
So
before we
Bobby
say more. Thank
Lashley
you.
was, he's been talking to the media and stuff since he left WWE, talking about storylines and groups and stuff that he wanted to accomplish while he was in WWE. A lot of it has obviously centered around the Hurt Business, which appears to be a thing again,
Yeah,
just in
the
AEW.
syndication, hurt
Yes.
syndication, it's called now.
So the latest thing that Lashley had to say was an idea that he had, and I don't know if he formally pitched it to WWE or if this was just an idea that he had and he never got to say it because he just never had the opportunity, or because they shut down the Hurt Business before they were able to do much else. But
In front of a
he
live audience.
basically suggested a storyline that would center around Gunther being from Germany, which is not true anyway, and
He's
that
from
he would
Austria, Sarah.
make a racially motivated comment to Lashley about people like him don't deserve championship chances, and then they would go off of that, but like painting Gunther as being racist, but racist tied to his ties to Germany, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's very weird. It's very weird and
It's
bizarre.
it was, yeah, very odd. Like I get the what he's
Tone
been
deaf,
doing about
some
like
might
wanting
say.
to talk about, oh, I we never got to do this, and the Hurt Business never got to be in front of people, and there were so many things that we wanted to do and things that we pitched and things that we talked about, and it really sucks that we never actually got to accomplish any of it. Like I get that, but I don't know why he thought this was a good idea to share. I think that's the thing that I'm questioning. Like, it's bad enough that he had this idea in the first place, but this feels like something that you shouldn't have shared publicly. And it also makes me question, did the other guys in the Hurt Business hear this pitch and they signed off on it? Because as I said to you when we talked about this before we went live, was he didn't, I don't believe he clarified whether or not he ever pitched it to them and if WWE said no or whatever, but his concern about WWE saying no, I think, is misguided, because I think the main person that would decline this story is Gunther. Because who in their right minds would say, yes, please paint me as one of the most evil people to ever cross the planet, and like, yeah, let's go with that.
I don't get it. I don't see how it would ever work or
Mm-hmm.
be a thing. And like you can tell where Bobby thrived the most in his career, and it was not with Triple H
Yeah.
as head of creative. There was a very Vince era type of storyline being dropped, and to hear that, when I read, I was like, "There's no way! Like this
I
is
thought it was like a
ridiculous."
troll. I was like,
Yeah,
this is
you thought like one of those
fake.
fake accounts that
Yeah.
just meme shit. Yeah, I thought that was too, but
Mm-hmm.
no. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly it, Vinny. Like,
It's
oh my
another
god.
example of why it's not a good idea the way that fans try to say it. And some of the issues that I think, like we've talked about in the past, that AEW has run into is giving too much freedom and creativity to the wrestlers, because they need to be drawn back sometimes, because the ideas that they come up with can be kind of crazy. And this is one of them. Like, this is why they have a creative team in WWE, because if this
Mhm.
were ever pitched to them, they would immediately say, absolutely not. If we're talking about 2001, Vince McMahon attitude era, racist stuff happening all the time anyway, this would have flown, probably that we
Mhm.
would have seen this, but not right now, not even in the last 10 years. So I just thought that was funny too, because people were like, yeah, this is why you cannot let wrestlers come up with their own storylines, because what is this?
It's fucking terrible.
Yeah, horrible. Um, but anyway, that was Raw, and then the couple headlines from today, and then we'll be talking about Crown Jewel tomorrow and
Let me
other
talk about crime.
headlines.
Yeah, tomorrow is the Super Show
Mhm.
for
I can't believe it
the
took
No
us
Nights
that
Off.
long to come up with just calling it the Super Show.
We who can
I
just
hate I hate myself for that.
because it's so simple.
Yeah, because I just came
It's
up with it one day. I was like, let me just call this a super show, because we're doing our normal show and then we'll do bad blood predictions. And then I said it to you and you were like, that's a great name. Why didn't we
oh
think
no,
about
it
it?
hit. It hit. Oh my god.
I'm like, I don't know, because
Like
we're
glue on a
idiots.
paper.
Yeah.
I was
So
like,
stupid.
yes, that's simple. But I mean, look at how long it took us to come up with No Nights Off.
I know.
You know what I mean?
The Dodgers are not cheating, Nathaniel.
Well,
I'm not watching, but I'm sure they're not
Freddie
cheating.
Freeman just went, yeah.
Did he just go hit another?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I cannot wait for them.
MVP.
I need them to
MVP,
win
baby.
tonight, because the Yankees, oh my god,
Oh,
fuck the Yankees. I'm
New
sorry.
York is in shambles. Uh,
Oh my god, I am
I
obsessed
love
with,
it.
oh my
I
god.
fucking love it. Yeah. So we'll be back tomorrow for the Super Show, where we will be giving our Crown Jewel predictions, obviously Lemon Rosebud and the other shit that happens on the Super Show. And in the meantime, go check out the library. All right. go check out our old videos from past streams and hit that subscribe button and bell notification to know every time we go live, and follow us on all social media platforms in the links in the description below. We'll be back tomorrow. Can't wait to see you guys. So until then, thank you for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you can do it. Do it. All you got to do is try. All right. See you mañana. Hasta luego.